Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWS College Football Wednesday. Some more Conference USA. I'm recording this. The games are still going on, so hopefully by the time I upload this, I have some good news to report. I'll put the results right here on the screen. We got two games to go through. Not the most exciting night of college football, but let's take a look. Update. So we had a green Tuesday night. Went 1-1, but Middle Tennessee was the bigger bet, and they covered. Thought I had a shot at getting Middle Tennessee money line there for a second, but of course they shot themselves in the foot at the end. Still covered though. Props to Jacksonville State's defense. Did a great job holding Austin Reed and that Western Kentucky passing offense down. So we're green on Tuesday. Let's move on to Wednesday.
Welcome to the SWS. The SWS. SWS. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, we got FIU on the road at Sam Houston State. Sam Houston laying 5.5 points at home here. Total sitting at 41.5. So the public's on Sam Houston State in this one. Looks like a lot of action came in on the Bearcats early. Since then, it seems to be evening out a bit. In fact, I saw a couple books move this line down to 5. Consensus is still 5.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the time you're watching this, it's at 5. So analytically, Sam Houston State has one of the worst offenses in the FBS. According to BetaRank, they are 133rd overall, so dead last in effective rush, 132nd in effective pass. So it's safe to say they're off to a rough start in their first year as a member of the FBS, but it's important to take note that they've been much better recently. After 3 games, Sam Houston State was averaging just 3.3 points per game and 147 total yards per game. In their last 3, 19 points a game and 376 yards per game. So the offense is showing signs of life. The good news for the Bearcats is they're playing FIU's defense, which hasn't been good in the slightest. 123rd overall, 127th in effective rush, 106th in effective pass. One thing I will say about FIU's defense, though, I know last week looked terrible. They went down 21-0 to UTEP. The UTEP fourth-string quarterback had 200 yards in the first quarter, got caught 3 times on the deep ball in 1 quarter. It was wild. But a couple things I want to mention about that game. From that point on, UTEP did nothing offensively. So the FIU defense really stepped up from the second quarter on. And also, who was expecting UTEP to come out throwing the ball deep? The week before that, they threw for 108 yards total as a team. Their first 3 quarterbacks were hurt. They had their 4th string out there. Everybody, including myself, figured UTEP was going to come out looking to run the ball. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the FIU defense. I just feel it's important to take note that the first quarter of that game may have been more FIU's defense getting out-coached rather than the defense failing. The week before the UTEP game was at New Mexico State. It was also their last road game. Run defense was really struggling for FIU. New Mexico State ran the ball 31 times for 183 yards on the ground. And that's just been the story of their season. With the exception of the UTEP game, which was just weird as hell, FIU just struggles to stop the run week in and week out. But here's the thing. Sam Houston's got a passing offense. The Bearcats have dropped back to pass on 54.57% of their offensive snaps this season. That's 26 most in the FBS. Sam Houston is averaging on the ground 2.6 yards per carry and 69 rushing yards per game. This Sam Houston offense has not shown us they can run the football at all this year. I'm not saying FIU's defense is going to go out there and just shut the run game down and look elite because, I mean, this is a bad defense and they really do struggle to stop the run. But I think it's important to take note that they're playing a team that can't run the ball. Now, on the other side of the ball, that's where we get to the strength of the Sam Houston team. They can definitely play some defense. They're 79th overall, 74th in effective rush, 84th in effective pass. The thing is, I don't know how much I trust Sam Houston's defense to make stops against the pass. Keep in mind, this is a team that was in the FCS last year, probably hasn't seen a ton of dangerous passing attacks, and they've only played 1 passing offense this entire season. It was week 4 at Houston, and Donovan Smith had a good game throwing the ball on him. 31 of 40, 294 yards, 1 touchdown, a 147 passer rating. Florida International can throw the ball a little bit. I mean, this is by no means a dangerous passing offense. It's FIU, but they got that freshman Keon Jenkins in. He wasn't even the quarterback to start the season. They had Grayson James start week 0. Then they brought this kid in, and he can play. On the season, he's averaging over 245 pass yards per game, 8.9 yards per attempt, so he's not scared to throw the ball downfield. Passer rating over 133. Look, it's FIU. I'm not trying to tell you that this offense is great, but it's definitely an offense that's capable of throwing the ball. And like I said, Sam Houston has only seen 1 passing offense this entire season. They haven't proven to me they can stop the pass yet, which is why I'm taking the points in this one. I know there's going to be a lot of sharps out there taking Sam Houston State. I know they think this Sam Houston team is undervalued, and I agree with them to some extent, but it's got to be against the run-first offense. They have not proven to me that they can stop the pass, and FIU can throw the ball a little bit, so give me Florida International plus 5.5. 2.5 next game. So more Conference USA action. We got New Mexico State on the road at UTEP. Miners are catching 3 points at home. That number's up from 2.5. Total sitting at 47.5. So the public absolutely hammered New Mexico State at that 2.5 number, bumped it right up to 3. I wouldn't be surprised if this number hits 3.5 by kickoff. It seems like the action's still coming in on New Mexico State. So it looks like Cade McConnell's going to get another start at quarterback for UTEP. A brief story on how he became the starter. So 2 weeks ago, UTEP was forced to start their backup quarterback because Gavin Hardison got hurt. In that game, this is 2 weeks ago, the backup quarterback got hurt. They brought in the third string. The third string quarterback got hurt as well. And then they brought in Cade McConnell, who was the fourth string quarterback. And he couldn't do anything against Louisiana Tech. UTEP threw for just 108 yards as a team in that game. So last week against FIU, it's announced that Cade McConnell's going to get the start at quarterback, the fourth string. Line moves from FIU plus 2.5 to FIU minus 2.5, a 5-point swing. Nobody's expecting anything from UTEP as far as a passing game goes. And he comes out and throws 3 deep balls on the money immediately in the first quarter. But like I said earlier in the video, I think that was more a case of FIU's defense just getting completely caught off guard. Because if you look at Cade McConnell's numbers for the rest of the game, he did literally nothing after the first quarter. He connected on 3 deep balls. UTEP went up 21-0. I would imagine everyone turned the game off at that point. It's a Conference USA game, looking like a blowout. Changed the channel. From the second quarter on, he was just 5 of 11 for 47 yards through the air. UTEP's offense was non-existent, and FIU crawled back into that game. At the start of the fourth quarter, it was 24-14, and FIU had the ball. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't think Cade McConnell's going to do much through the air in this one, despite what we saw in the first quarter last week. New Mexico State's pass defense is a bit undervalued, in my opinion. The Aggies got lit up in the opener by UMass in week 0 back in August, and it's skewing the numbers a bit. In their last 3 games, they played Sam Houston, FIU, and Hawaii. Those are 3 offenses that throw the ball. Now, I know these aren't electric passing attacks, but it's still 3 passing offenses. And New Mexico State has held it down defensively. They allowed just 16.7 points per game in those 3 games and under 7 yards per pass attempt allowed. Now, New Mexico State has shown us that their defense can be vulnerable to the run, and UTEP's run game has looked improved recently, so I'm sure UTEP's going to move the chains here and there, but this isn't a run game you can count on with UTEP. I mean, they're 91st in rush yards per game, 111th in yards per carry, 100th in effective rush. So despite what we saw in the first quarter last week, I expect UTEP to struggle offensively in this game. Now, on the other side of the ball, kind of tough to predict what we're going to see offensively from New Mexico State. I was expecting to see them throw the ball a lot this year, bringing back a quarterback like Diego Pavia, but through the first 5 games, he was averaging just 19.4 pass attempts per game. Now, in the last 2, we finally saw the Aggies offense open the pass game up a bit. I don't know if that was because they played FIU and Sam Houston, 2 defenses that are exploitable in the passing game. I really have no idea. If that's the logic, I would imagine New Mexico State comes out running the ball again like they did earlier in the year, because UTEP's defense has been really bad against the run. UTEP defensively on the season is ranked 115th overall according to BetaRank, 117th in effective rush, 102nd in effective pass. What UNLV did to the UTEP run defense a few weeks back was literal assault and battery. This was at home on UTEP's home field too. 48 carries, 307 yards on the ground, 6.4 yards per carry. Now, New Mexico State's run game is not as good as UNLV's. UNLV has a pretty powerful run game this year, but still, I don't have a ton of hope for UTEP defensively in this game. As far as what I'm betting, I mean, I just don't like what I've seen from UTEP this season. If you look at their last 5 games, other than that single first quarter against FIU where they scored 21 points catching them off guard, they haven't even been competitive in these games. I mean, this team's getting beat up week in and week out. I know it's the square side. I know the public's heavy on New Mexico State, but I can't get there with UTEP, so I'm going to lay them. Give me New Mexico State -3. If you want my top bets, parlays of the day, or you want to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. College football week 8. Let's have a nice little Wednesday night. Not the best night of football, but still, opportunity to grab a few dollars here. So remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.